So this is somewhat of an inspired video. I wasn't sure what to do for SpiritSaid this month. And just now I had a bit of a inspirational channeling moment, and I thought that's it. That's what this video has to be about. So I have got my cards here. I've got my tarot cards, but I'm not sure I'm going to use them. I want to see how this goes because I am going to be channeling here. But the video that I want to make is actually about fear. It's about identifying what fear is to you and managing it, working out where it comes from and how to manage it. Obviously, this is something that we all experience. No one is exempt from fear, right? Generally, fear is a manifestation of a scenario in the future. Yeah, in the future, basically, because obviously fear is always a future expectation or fear, basically. It can be based on something that's happened in the past. So this went badly, so it will go badly again. It could be based on something you heard somewhere else. But the brain is a very powerful muscle when it comes to telling you old stories. It's like any muscle in your body, right? It's muscle memory. I remember, without thinking how to brush my hair, right? How to do that. Because my brain knows that movement, right? I've been doing it all my life. It's the same with fear, right? Fear is just a learned behavior. It's a learned muscle. If we were brought into this world and there was no such thing as fear, all we would have was our instincts, then we would live our lives very differently, because fear has the ability to navigate. Oh, you mustn't go there because that happened last time. Or you mustn't go there because they told you that you mustn't go there, right? That's what fear is. Now, in the animal kingdom, fear is very useful, right? And it should have been for us too, Don't go there because there's a great big lion, he's going to eat you, right? You sense it. Your intuition senses it. But the thing about animals and nature is they don't have this hideous ego mind that we have. We think we're all powerful because we have a brain that can function. It can do maths. It can speak languages. It has the ability to digest and to investigate and explore. And yeah, that's very useful. But when you couple that with the basic animal instincts that we have for survival, it's dangerous, right? Because all that knowledge that we have, plus the fear, is a very powerful thing for destruction, right? It's the bringer of wars. Our imaginations and our knowledge, plus the fear, right? Underlying all of it, that underlying fear. So, as humans, we have a big responsibility to honor ourselves, our instinctive selves, and not let that fear give our brain and its knowledge too much power negatively, right, in our own lives and for that around us. I don't know if any of this is actually making sense, but I'm sort of channeling it through. So, I mean, if I speak from my point of view for fear, or with regards to fear, so I had suffered anxiety. Probably the first time it really hit me was when I was probably in my early 20s, like my first job, I remember. I used to have panic attacks and stuff. It happened for a really long time. It debilitated me, right? I didn't know why they were happening. I had no logical, I'm afraid of this, right? It was a subconscious thing, again, because the brain is powerful. Just because it's not at the front of your brain doesn't mean your brain isn't telling you stories, right? But that was the first time I really suffered any type of anxiety or serious sort of anxiety like that. The way I healed it back then, so this is in my 20s, right? And I couldn't leave the house. It got so bad. But I used to have to still go to work. And if I actually had to look back in hindsight now and say what was the thing that I was afraid of, most of it back then was I was under a lot of pressure. I got into work 1 minute late and I'd be slaughtered. So a lot of it was the fear of getting to work late. My drive to work was about an hour and 45 minutes, and I had no control over the traffic that I got stuck in and stuff. So, you know, I would often get in the car and have an immediate panic attack and have to rush back home because I was afraid, right? I mean, in hindsight, I could say now it was about the traffic. At the time, I didn't know that. At the time, it was just like every time I leave the house to go to work, I have a panic attack. It was awful. It was really awful. And it was about pressure from authority, right? It was about being afraid that I was going to get in trouble for being late when it was never my fault. It was completely out of my control. I'd leave on time, I'd leave early, and I would still get stuck in the same sort of awful traffic. As I got as it went on, I found a solution, which was really weird, right? So I've always been very spiritual. I always knew that there was more than just this physical world that we see. But I didn't consciously know how to navigate that. And back then, I remember what I did. I would drive to work and I would listen to Peggy Lee Fever, the song Fever by Peggy Lee, on repeat for an hour and 45 minutes, and the beat, ba-dum, dum, 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 I'd breathe to it. And that actually got rid of my panic attacks. That was the thing that stopped the fear. Once I identified how to stop the fear, it was to come out of the head and come into the body, right? That helped me for the rest of my life so far. So since then, with being able to identify it, and now, so I've gone through, you know, I've gone through a spiritual awakening, for many years, but in the last 2 years has been the worst of it. Anyone who's gone through spiritual awakenings knows that it's not fun. It's not love and light. You have to face all your shadows. You have to face your pain. You have to face all the things that are difficult for you. Past life stuff. You have to face trauma that you didn't know you had, and heal it and let it go and love it about yourself. And you have to embrace the dark in you. You have to embrace the anger. You have to embrace the sadness, the pain, because that's all that makes you who you are. It's all beautiful, all of it, right? But anyone that's gone through it knows that it's pretty brutal. But in the last couple of years, so where it's brought me to now, so now I've gone through all of that, is actually being able to identify the energy within myself, actually being able to access my higher self and say, right, you're feeling something funky. It's fear. Why are you scared? Because what you're afraid of isn't happening, right? What your fear is in the future, right? It's a manifestation of a future thought. Why are you scared, right? Okay, so what can you do to get rid of that fear? Is it even your fear? You know, a lot of us spiritually as empaths as well, some of us are like sponges, you know, when things went bad in the world with COVID, when things got very difficult, some of us got knocked into depressive episodes. We didn't know why, you know, we're like, oh, like we're just thinking it's awful. It was absorbing all that collective fear. We're like great big sponges, you know, we take the fear and we transmute it into love. But it's confusing. Like you have to go through those things to actually, your brain catches up in the end and says, oh, right, now I understand that this fear I'm feeling doesn't belong to me, or it does belong to me, but let's break it down. Why are you feeling scared? Am I going to be my fear, or am I going to experience it? Am I going to be my fear, or am I just going to witness it coming through and out my body? You know, I just did a healing ritual, like literally about 20 minutes ago, which I think is where this has come from. And the ritual asks you to look in the mirror at yourself and say, can I love myself, right? Look in your own eyes and actually say, will you allow yourself to be loved? Will you allow the things that hurt you, the shame, guilt, pain, fear, to come out of you so you can let them go and be liberated? Will you allow it, right? And, you know, my answer, I've done this ritual a lot, many times. Originally, my answer was I couldn't. I couldn't let myself see those things. Now, yeah, of course I can. I can, because I've done it so often now, so frequently. I actually want it to come out of me. It's like it feels like a little energetic block, and I need it to come out of me, right? So yes, show me the pain, please. Because if you show me the pain and I can look at it and I can maybe say, well, actually, that's not really that painful, is it, Gem? You know, is it painful for me to face that? Probably not. You know, it's much easier facing your problems than it is running away from them. You face them and you can deal with them like that. You run away from them, you carry them everywhere you go. You know, they don't leave you. They're yours. They're you. Much easier to face them. So now I go looking for the wounds. Now I want to know, why do you feel shame? Why do you feel pain? Why do you feel guilt? And do I, right? Is that actually what I'm feeling? Emotions are an interesting thing, because it's energy in motion, right? That's what emotions are. When we laugh, it's because something's so funny and it all comes out of us. When we cry, it's because something is, it could be actually, you know, we cry for good reason or bad reason, but it's because that energy needs to come out of us. It is a blessing to be able to release stuck energy that way. That's why we can do it. That's why the human body was facilitated with a way to release pain, to release happiness, because it stays clogged up inside in our energetic body, and it has to come out. If you don't let it out, if you don't face it, it will consume you. You know, I know people that have severe migraines, right? You know why they have migraines? Not because anything's wrong medically, because they won't speak their emotions. They won't let their emotions out. They keep their emotions bottled up so terribly that it's causing physical problems. I know people that are so terrified, right? Have been like this all their lives. They're so conditioned to fear. They're so conditioned to anxiety. Everything has an anxious point to it. Everything, right? It could be anything, like holding a glass because you think you're going to drop it, you know? Like there's always a connotation of fear attached to every single thing that they do. So their body shakes like this. Their body shakes because they're inside them is doing this. It's like this tension because of that anxiety. Now, if they were able to go and look at that fear and say, well, where are you coming from? Because it's just one thing, right? Where are you coming from that you are narrating my entire path with fear, right? Where did that initial fear come from? It might have come from something in childhood. It might have come from one tiny little thing that made that person integrate it into their existence without even realizing, subconsciously, because the brain and its knowledge and its power is dangerous. And now their entire lives, it's just escalated. You know, their entire lives are basically with this fear underlying everything that they do. And that is why it's so important to be able to identify where things come from. So if you are feeling scared, you know, if there's stuff going on in your life, and yeah, I'm not going to lie, there are things that are scary, right? Even, you know, in my life, there's stuff happening in my life that's terrifying. I'm not going to pretend it's not. It's terrifying. Not health related, thank God, but to do with, you know, like circumstances, stability, just lots of things, right? Every time these things creep in to try and poke me, I have to be so careful how I navigate them because I can fall down the rabbit hole very quickly. I have to say, right, this fear isn't going to get me. I now treat fear like it's external. I now treat fear like it's an entity, right? Like a shadow self of me, right? Not entity, like just a shadow of me, right? That a part of me that's outside of my higher self, and it's coming in to poke me and go, you should be scared. You should be freaking out, right? Because fear comes from the ego, and the ego needs to control. You should be freaking out, so you need to control this situation. What are you going to do to control this situation so this doesn't happen, which is in the future, right? And isn't happening right now. And I have to say, well, hold on a minute. Why are you poking at me? You know, like, is it going to help? Is it productive that I look at this future possible like scenario and panic and try and find a way to control it? Or what can I do in my space right now, which is empty, right? This fear belongs in the future. This scenario that's going to happen belongs in the future because fear's in the future. So what am I going to do this very moment, right? Right now, what am I going to do to... What am I in control of in my space, in my sacred space right now? What can I do to control or to control myself, number one, but also to push away this fear? And I might, you know, turn to my spirituality, which mostly I do. I might look for guidance. I might ask my own guides, you know, what's happening? What's your advice? A lot of it is why I invented the deck. Because of that, exactly that, you know, like I'm nervous, I'm frightened. What should I do? And it will always bring me back to self. I'll say to them, can you please give me something that can ease me? And they will, and it will bring me back to self, right? The fear, it doesn't go away. So these things that I'm afraid of in my life, it's like like right now I feel like it's standing over there. It's not in me. It's standing over there. I don't want you near me, fear, right? Does that mean I'm running away from you? Maybe. But am I going to embody you? Am I going to embody this fear? Am I going to let it drive me insane? Am I going to let it like make me do things out of fear that could actually be detrimental to me and my health and my future? No, I won't now. I used to. I didn't even know that it was separate from me before. But no, not now. No, it's going to stay there. And when I am ready, right, or when I am guided to, in that moment, I will look at it chunk by chunk. I will say, show me the pain, please, that you're carrying around fear, right? And here's the pain, right? Where is this pain coming from? Where is this pain coming from? Well, I'm not going to go to my own story, but, you know, the pain is coming from whatever happened in the past. Okay. Do you need to have this pain? Is it necessary? Have you learned everything you needed to learn from this pain? Yes. Yeah, I definitely have. Okay, can you let it go? Can you love the pain for teaching you what it taught you, but can you let it go so that you are more able and healthier to be able to face what's left of this fear that's standing over on my right? Yeah, I can. Okay, let it go. Right, next. What else is going on here, right? What can you do in your physical world in this very moment to try and dissipate that fear that's standing over there, right? That you're not prepared to embody, but you could embody it very quickly if you're not careful. So I think, I mean, this is a long video and I hope that it's making sense to somebody, but when it comes to our fears, I think the biggest lesson or the biggest thing that I've learned is you are not your fear. It is just an energy. It is just a manifestation of something that isn't here, based on something from the past. Your ego quite often is your enemy, right? As in, the ego needs to control, the soul just wants to be. And as a spiritual being, and you will be if you're watching this, you hopefully will be able to just drop from here into your heart and just say, you know what, I can just be, right? And actually a really good book to read, I think I said it last time as well, is The Power of Now. The Power of Now, I mean, Eckhart Tolle is a gift from, you know, from Gaia, God, higher creator, whatever your God is, whatever your, you know, love, whatever your higher power is. But he's a spiritual gift for us, and he's created this book, and it will help people to stay in that moment. It will help people to understand that living in the past and the future isn't actually useful. It isn't useful. Worrying about something that isn't here ruins the moment you're in, right? I remember even before I woke up, I saw this quote on LinkedIn, and I put it on when I used to, in being in the corporate world, I put it on a Post-it note on my computer, and it said, what happens to the moment you're in if you're always racing to the next? So It's just about mindfulness, which is very valuable. You know, like, do whatever you need to do. Treat yourself like you are someone you love and you want to protect them from worrying about stuff that isn't there, right? Treat yourself that way. If someone was in your situation, if there's fear in your life right now and someone was in your situation and you love them, right? Let's say it's your clone and you love them so much you don't want them to suffer, right? What would you say to them? Don't worry about that right now. It's not happening. What can you do right now, right? Let the worry go. You are not your fear. It's just an emotion you're feeling. You just let it out, right? And then for those that, you know, have gone through deep awakenings like I have, you know, you will know that actually digging for wounds is very healing. You know, like what's the thing that's causing it? I'm going to find you and I'm going to get rid of you, wound, because I'm not letting you come up again in another part of my life. And the universe, spirit, you know, that they are always showing you triggers. They're always giving you, it's always reflecting back at you your good and your bad, right? You have to see your good and you have to acknowledge it and you have to love it. You have to love the things about you that you just won't let yourself love. I don't know why we do that. We have so many beautiful, incredible qualities about ourselves and we just won't allow ourselves to love them. Maybe because we don't see them loved externally, right? But you don't see them loved externally because you don't love them yourself, like as within, so without. If all you see reflected back to you externally are your wounds and your fear and your things you're not happy with, then they're the things that you need to look at. They're beautiful signposts for you to say, well, I see you pain. I see you self-worth issue. I see you, you know, undeservingness, the inability to receive. I see you as little blocks of energy. I'm going to look at you and say, well, where did you come from? Where you feel like you can't receive, note that you have to do everything yourself, that everything good in your life has to be hard won. Where did you come from? Find it. Where did it come from? Did it come from when you were 4 years old at primary school? Did it come from a past life? Those of us who resonate with past lives, you know, will know. Well, I feel undeserving because I lived a whole life where I was treated like I was a nothing, you know? Or I did something terrible in a past life, so now I don't feel deserving. You've got to release those vows that you give into yourself. You know, there's another vow, the vow of silence. You know, a lot of people come from very religious past lives where they took on a vow of silence, right? So now you're afraid to speak your truth. You have to cut the cords to any vows of silence that you've had from before. Or maybe when you were a kid, you were never heard. You were told to shut up. You know, people didn't want to hear what you said. So now when you speak, you don't feel heard, right? So how do you speak? Do you scream and shout? Do you just not say anything at all and feel like you're bottling it all up? It all comes back from the same. It all comes from back to fear, right? It all comes back to fear. Fear is the underlying energy for so much that we do in this navigation of life, and you still have to identify that fear. You don't embody it. You are not it. It doesn't become who you are. Separate it from yourself and find out where it's coming from, right? Because being terrified now of something that might happen in a month's time is not going to change what's going to happen in a month's time. I could navigate the month a lot better without fear, right? If I can just get rid of that fear now and then figure out productively, what am I going to do? Because the weight will come off. What can I physically do to fix what's going to happen or could possibly happen in a month's time if there was no fear involved? If you had no fear in your life, if fear didn't exist for you, how would you live your life? Would you chase the things that are your dreams? Would you go after your bliss if you weren't scared that it would fail? If you were told it won't fail, would you go after your bliss? If you were told that the person that you loved you back and you guys were going to live the happiest life you could ever dream of, would you go after them without fearing rejection? Would you go after your dream job because there would be no fear that you would damage it? You know, like as in you wouldn't succeed at it. Identifying where fear is in your body, identifying where it is in your energetic field, cutting cords. Cutting cords is such a powerful thing. Call in, for those who resonate, call in Archangel Michael to cut cords to anything that is fear-based, anything that is lower vibrational than unconditional love, clearing yourself and just having a stern conversation with yourself. Why are you afraid? What are you afraid of? Has it happened? Is it happening? Do you need to be afraid? In all the times you've been afraid before, has anything you've been afraid of actually manifested? You know, sometimes it will, but mostly it won't. I am going to pull some cards from my little deck. I don't know if, I don't know why. I don't know why. And this is a very long video, so if you've stuck with me till now, I hope that it's made sense and I haven't bored you to death. But I'm just going to pull 3 cards from here for advice. So guys, think of something that you, think of something, a question, just something that you want a bit of direction on. And let's see what we've got. Wow. Okay, we've got Fallers. So we got keep going, you're not finished yet. We got it's going to evolve into something better. And oh, that jumped. No, you don't need to know why, right? So this is fear. This is perfect. Keep going. Whatever it is, keep going, because it's going to be better than you ever imagined. And you don't need to know. The ego from fear wants to know what's going to happen in the future so that it can prepare itself. Survival mode, right? Spirit is saying you don't need to know that. You don't need to know that. Just trust and have faith. Let's have one more. We've got don't feed your low vibes on the bottom. Let's have one more. Oh, we've got 2 more. Don't speak your beliefs yet, and money is coming. Just relax. So if this is, and we've still got don't feed your low vibes on the bottom. I shuffled it and it's still there. So whatever you're doing, keep it close, right? Like a little seed you want to protect while it grows, right? Keep it close because it's going to grow into something amazing. You don't need to have all the answers right now. You don't need to know the answers, right? This is what surrendering to spirit is. It's letting go of the fear of the ego trying to control, right? You don't need to have the answers. Money is coming. Could be money. It could be abundance in any form. And then we've got hold back a bit. Be honest with the truth, and what you're feeling is accurate, right? What I actually heard when this card came out was it's the truth, not be honest with the truth. So yeah, keep quiet, right? Because let the seed grow, whatever it is, let it grow. This is the truth. This is what spirit are telling you. It's the truth, and what you're feeling about it, wherever you think it's going to go, right? It's going to grow. You're right. It is going to be there, but don't worry. Don't worry about something in the future. Just concentrate on nurturing it now. And we've got this on the bottom again. It's going to evolve into something better. So to me, it feels like whoever this is for, something is being born, basically. Like something, you're nurturing something into life. Don't tell everybody your secrets. You just do it for yourself. And just trust the process. Trust the process. Don't let fear come in and sabotage anything. I hope this helped. I know it's a long video. Yeah. All right. Lots of love.